Yo, what's up? What's good? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now, and we're live right here on Chat Sports. My name is Jay Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. It is a beautiful Thursday, January 23rd. There are 4 teams remaining among 32 in the National Football League, and one of those, our Philadelphia Eagles. Coming up, another loaded show. We're going to talk Eagles news. We're going to talk Eagles buzz, analysis as well going into this NFC Championship game against the Washington Commanders. A programming reminder, be sure to join us on Sunday for our Eagles Commanders watch party. Kickoff is set for 3 p.m. Eastern. We are going live 90 minutes before kickoff. We will preview this game. We'll interact with the audience. We'll have a little pregame tailgate, take some drinks down. We'll inform you, entertain you, give you insightful coverage in the lead up to kickoff. And then once the game gets underway, the best place to experience an Eagles game day outside of being at the actual game. And the stage is set. Winner advancing to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Commanders on the road. Surprise team. Nobody thought that the Commanders would be here for Philadelphia. Plenty of talent on a loaded roster built by Howie Roseman. Philadelphia is one of the Super Bowl favorites going into this year, and they have had a tremendous season. 14 wins for the Eagles in the regular season, 2 more in the playoffs, 12 in the regular season for the Commanders, 2 in the playoffs as well. The Birds, 5.5, 6-point favorites depending on which book you look at. The game taking place, of course, at Lincoln Financial Field in South Philadelphia, and the over-under at 47.5. Shout out your city. Let us know where you're watching from. We're coming to you live from Studio H in the Chat Sports Studios. But where are you? It's Chase Sr. and Jake Chipper hanging out with the Bird Gang as we have people rocking and rolling with us from every pocket of America and worldwide. Let's take a look at the comment section here. I see Philly, Jacksonville, Toledo, Pioneer, California, Serbia, Las Vegas, Petersburg, Virginia, Erie, Connecticut, Tucson, Arizona, another person rocking with us from Philly, Waco, Texas. So many people hanging out here on Eagles Now on this Thursday, January 23rd. A lot of stuff that we're going to hit here today. Howie Roseman's vision on full display as his fingerprints are all over this team that is on the precipice with the victory of making it to the Super Bowl. We're going to go through some of the moves that he made, which have really helped the Eagles get to this point. We do have some bad news for Philadelphia. They just released their injury report. The good, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, full participants, but 2 starters did not participate on this Thursday. It could impact the Eagles' ground attack against a Commanders team that this year has been one of the worst teams against the run. We have some Eagles free agency buzz and how the Eagles can beat the Commanders. Also, we will round out with a mailbag. So get those questions in right now. Use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. Our sponsor for today's live show, our friends at Game Time, the best app in the ticketing marketplace. If you want to go to Eagles Commanders at the link, plenty of tickets available, and Game Time hits you with the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. They have flash deals and zone deals. Be sure to toggle the all-in pricing tool. Therefore, no surprise fees at checkout. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Thanks to Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to find the best seats at that lowest price guaranteed so that you don't have to sort through thousands of tickets. Game Time will just hit you with the best deals and the best vantage point. Again, Eagles Commanders at the link on Sunday. A lot of tickets available. I always love how you can see that view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Let's get to some Eagles news here, and then I'll expand on this throughout the next hour and change. Jalen Hurts did practice today. That was a good sign. Moving around very well. I think his mobility is going to be very important in determining the winner of this Eagles-Commanders game. Cam Jurgens, with a back injury, did not practice. And anytime a player doesn't practice this late in the week, raises some red flags. Dallas Goedert did not as well. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He's dealt with several injuries this year. And so the Eagles' first-string offensive line at practice today, you had Jordan Mailata at left tackle, Tyler Steen at left guard, Landon Dickerson at center, Mekhi Becton at right guard, and Lane Johnson at right tackle. Now, if Cam Jurgens can't play, you're shuffling the deck up a little bit because Steen goes in there at left guard for Dickerson. Dickerson slides over to center, and this could impact the ground game, not just by losing Cam Jurgens. Great on pull blocks, really good center, Pro Bowler this year in his first year playing center and replacing the Hall of Famer in Jason Kelce. But if you don't have Dallas Goedert, he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the National Football League. The Commanders, 30th in yards per carry given up this season, 30th in rushing yards per game. Saquon Barkley, on the other hand, magical season, more than 2,000 rushing yards, more than 100 against Green Bay, more than 200 against the Rams. So we'll talk more about that all throughout the show. Our Super Chat menu for today, by the way, it's a Thursday, and for Chip and I during the football season, this is our Friday because we always work a Sunday to Thursday schedule, although during the NFL season, kind of work them 6-7 days a week. But no in-office work tomorrow, although I'll probably be pumping out a lot of content here on the show. The point here is, let's have some fun on this Thursday. We've had some Thursday shows go wild. I want to run it up once again. All Super Chats will get a shout-out. Whoever sends in a $10 Super Chat, we're giving you a Go Birds. So many people to my left in the office, I want to give them a headache by the end of this show. Anybody who sends in a $20 Super Chat, we have red Jell-O shots for the Commanders. We have green Jell-O shots for the Eagles. Let's get the rivalry going with some Jell-O shots. Every 20, we're taking one down. Whoever sends in a 50, we're going to sing Fly, Eagles, Fly, and no one likes us, we don't care. And if we get to $200 in total Super Chats, I'm taking down a shotgun. Segment number 4 will be a mailbag. It's never too early to get those questions in. You want to talk NFC Championship game? You want to talk AFC Championship game? You want to talk Eagles draft targets, Eagles free agency options. You want to share a hot take or something funny. Use the hashtag Eagles, or if you send in a Super Chat, you're guaranteed to be featured here on the show. Two $50 Super Chats coming in from Dennis Designs and Vince Sanders. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Dennis first up, Vince Sanders second. Both of those legends making it rain here on the show. And don't you dare go anywhere. Anytime somebody wants to donate big-time dollars to the program, we are always going to celebrate that because we're built a little bit different here on Eagles Now and at Chat Sports. So Dennis Designs, he makes it rain with the $50 Super Chat. And then Vince, our guy, and one of our Super Chat MVPs, in addition to Dennis, over the last couple of weeks, also sending in a $50 Super Chat. I also want people to do me a favor. We have more than 500 people watching live, only 82 likes. We could get this stream up to 1,000 people hanging out if we have everybody hit that thumbs up icon and like the video right now. So 2 of those 50s coming in. We got to sing Fly, Eagles, Fly. No one likes us. We don't care. And I got to take down a Jell-O shot. So let's get it done. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. We're from Philly, fucking Philly. No one likes us. We don't care. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. We're the Eagles, the fucking Eagles. No one likes us. We don't care. A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Let's go! Starting the show off with a bang, and we're about to get 4 segments underway. So don't go anywhere. Some fantastic content on deck for today's Eagles Now Live. As promised, going to take down a Jell-O shot. Now, it is green. You can't really see it because it blends in with the green screen, but I promise you, it's green. Let's try this. You can kind of see it. Yeah, green Jell-O shot.
You know
for
it's
the birds
because it blends in. You
exactly.
know, that's how you know.
We also have some red Jell-O shots for the Commanders. So if you send in a $20 super chat and you say F the commies, I'm going to take down a red Jell-O shot. So cheers, everybody.
Let's go. Well, you know what? Toss me one of those. I can show the people what they look like. I can show the people right here so that they...
Down the hatch, baby.
So that they know. They know what we're rocking with here.
$20 Jell-O shots on this Thirsty Thursday. See? The Kelly Green Jell-O shots here. Thanks to Avery for bringing those in.
Yup.
Helping to make some cheddar for the company as a new person. Let's go. All right. Lot to get to here on the show. We have some good news. We have some bad news. We have a lot of analysis that is coming your way on tap for today's Philadelphia Eagles Now Live. If you're ready to start the show and you're ready to talk some birds, I want everybody kicking it here with us to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. It's the best Eagles show on YouTube. We're over 100,000 subscribers. If you haven't hit that sub button, do so right now because you got a sub for Eagles Dubs. The official show is about to get underway. So let's hang out over the next several minutes. We'll answer your questions. We'll answer your super chats. And we'll talk some birds here over the next hour. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. On this segment, this is what we're talking about here. Howie Roseman's vision and the moves that he's made, it's been on display all year for this Eagles roster, in particular during this playoff run, which has the Eagles 1 win away from their second Super Bowl appearance in 3 years. So on today's show, how the Eagles general manager has had his fingerprints all over this very special season. Before we dive in, a programming reminder, be sure to hit that subscribe button for daily and year-round coverage of the birds, but also join us on Sunday for our Eagles Commanders watch party, the best place to experience an Eagles game day outside of being at the actual game, and we will be going live for a 90-minute pregame show. Our coverage begins at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Howie Roseman crushed this offseason for the Eagles, and we're going to run through just some of the moves that he's been able to make. This offseason, in the draft and in free agency, he signed Saquon Barkley to a 2-year, $26 million guaranteed contract. He's exceeded all expectations. He's become an Eagles legend in year 1. And then in the draft, Howie Roseman drafted Quinyon Mitchell with the 22nd overall pick in the first round, and then they traded up for Cooper DeJean in the second round. They are both finalists for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Zack Baun, Howie signed him for north of $3 million. He's turned into an all-pro linebacker, and he's a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. Mekhi Becton, failed tackle? That's fine. Come to Philadelphia. Jeff Stoutland University will turn you into one of the top right guards in football. The Eagles desperately needed some swagger, confidence, physicality, a ball hawk, and a leader back on that defense. They missed C.J. Gardner-Johnson last year. Howie brings him back. He's been a focal point on that back end for Vic Fangio. Howie restructured the contract of Josh Sweat. He goes out there, has 8 sacks this year. And then Howie and Nick Sirianni, Jeffrey Lurie as well, they hired Vic Fangio, who's a finalist for Assistant Coach of the Year. He's turned one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year into the best. And Kellen Moore, he's done so much better as a play designer, a play caller as compared to Brian Johnson last year. And that's led to the Eagles being top 10 statistically in several offensive categories. What Howie did this offseason is going to go down as one of the best off seasons for a general manager ever. He hit on the draft. He hit on a lot of free agency signings. He hit on coaching hirings. And some of these free agency deals, outside of a player like Bryce Huff, they were very financially savvy as well. And then this year, the Eagles won 14 games, and they're in the NFC Championship game in large part to the player development that we have seen taking place. This is a credit to Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff, but how he drafted these players. Jalen Carter, one of the most disruptive defensive players in the game, and he has perennial all-pro potential. Nolan Smith went from 1 sack last year to 6 sacks in the regular season to 3 sacks in 2 playoff games this year. Cam Jurgens, first year replacing Jason Kelsey, a Hall of Famer, a Philadelphia icon, the best center of this generation across the entire NFL. Jurgens is going to the Pro Bowl in his first year as a starter at center. Nakobe Dean took that leap as an off-ball linebacker. Milton Williams is going to get paid in free agency, a really good rotational defensive tackle who can also play defensive end for Vic Fangio in that 3-4. We've seen flashes of Moro Ajomo. He's a part of the rotation along that defensive line. Reed Blankenship has turned into a big-time player on the back end at that safety spot. When Dallas Goedert was out, Grant Calcaterra rose up to the occasion. He performed very well. And how about Jalix Hunt? He's made some huge plays during this playoff run and in the regular season, sacking the quarterback against the run and making plays on special teams. There are even more examples, but the point here being is that Howie Roseman has drafted and signed and put together a loaded roster. And the Associated Press released their finalists for NFL honors. And look at this. Howie did all of it. Saquon Barkley is a finalist for NFL MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Zack Baun for DPOY, as I noted. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, both finalists for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then Vic Fangio, a finalist for Assistant Coach of the Year. Howie did it again. So with that, I pop up today's poll question. Is Howie Roseman the best general manager in the National Football League? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Let me know down in the comment section right now. Coming up next, I want to run through all of those Howie moves and expand my thoughts on them. So continue to hang out here with us. But first, today's show made possible thanks to our friends at Game Time. If you want to go to the Eagles Commanders NFC Championship game, plenty of tickets available. Growing up as an Eagles fan, one of my fondest memories as a sports fan going to the 2004 NFC Championship game between the Eagles and the Falcons when the Eagles finally got over the hump after 3 straight NFC title game losses, and they beat Michael Vick and Atlanta in that game to punch their ticket to Super Bowl 39. I went with my dad. It was an incredible atmosphere. It had snowed in the days leading up to that, so there was some snow still at Lincoln Financial Field. If you want to be a part of an environment like that, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Thanks to Game Time Picks, you don't have to go through thousands of tickets. Game Time will filter out the fluff and allow you to find the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed to sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, and a whole lot more. So one more time, use that code CHATSPORTS, $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. We run through these moves that Howie's been able to make. For Saquon Barkley, he rushes for more than 2,000 yards in the regular season. Bona fide MVP candidate. Changed the complexion of this Eagles offense. And if there were a year for a running back to finally win MVP for the first time since, I believe, Adrian Peterson about a decade ago, it's this year. Saquon Barkley, straight up incredible. And in the playoffs, that momentum is carried. 25 carries for a $119 against the Green Bay Packers and then against the Rams in the snow. Shades of Shady McCoy, 26 totes, 205, averaged 7.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, a long of 78. In 2 games against the Rams this year, Saquon rushed for more than 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he had 4 tutties of 60-plus yards. As for Quinyon Mitchell, the Eagles' first-round pick, Quinyon turned into a lockdown guy on the outside, a big reason why this Eagles defense was able to turn it around. Overall PFF grade of 73.1, 32nd among 223 corners, a coverage grade of 74, but he was 11th in pass breakups with 9, 13th in passes defended with 14. He had 13 passes defended, I should say, that ranked 14th among all corners. Yeah, we're back on track, baby. We're flying like the birds. And his instincts, his ability to make plays on the football is what makes him special. I think he's only going to continue to get better. Fluid hips, good feet, good back pedal, can make breaks on the ball, really good speed, and that feel. Those instincts, really special qualities at the cornerback position. Cooper DeJean, remember how he missed all of training camp and then came back for that final preseason game? And then early in the year, he didn't play at all? Well, he got his first start coming out of the bye week. The Eagles' defense prior to that had really struggled. Then they became the number one defense. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they became the number one defense once Cooper DeJean became a starter for this team out of the slot. He could play the run, he can play the pass, he's good on fourth downs, good on third down. He has speed, explosiveness, physicality. He can guard multiple positions. He's always around the ball. He, too, looks to be a player, and he's been a pretty good punt returner as well. Zack Baun is one of the more incredible stories that I can remember. The Eagles signed him for a little north of $3 million. He had not played off-ball linebacker as a coverage guy before with the New Orleans Saints. Howie identifies him as a player who can do that. Vic Fangio did as well, and they turned him into an all-pro and a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. 151 tackles, led the team, 3.5 sacks, used as a blitzer, and you can see those pass rush skills, 11 TFLs, 5 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery in the regular season, had another one against the Rams on that strip sack from Nolan Smith. Mekhi Becton, another wonderful player developmental story and a great identification of somebody who could become something who another team looked at as a cast-off. The Eagles signed Mekhi Becton for a little more than $2 million. He was a failed offensive tackle. They put him at right guard, hasn't looked back, and he's massive at that position, at that size of 6'7", 363 pounds. The first Saquon Barkley touchdown run against the Rams, look at what Mekhi Becton did. Got to that second level, opened up a huge hole, blouses, Saquon to the paint. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 59 tackles this year, 6 picks, 12 pass breakups. A wonderful season for him. The Eagles and him able to get over a sour ending. They realized they needed that personality back. They needed that swagger. They needed that ball-hawking safety, a leader and a captain for this entire Eagles team. Josh Sweat, Howie Roseman restructured his contract. They barely paid him any money, and he gave them 8 sacks this season. Jalen Carter, look, he lasted until number 9 in the 2023 draft. Some character concerns, legal concerns, led by Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie. They knew they could take a chance on this player because they had some great captains and leaders inside that locker room. From Lane Johnson to Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Darius Slay, and Jalen Hurts, they knew they could take on a player like this who maybe in the beginning was a little bit high maintenance, maybe came to Philadelphia with some questions. If he got drafted number 1 by the Bears, probably would have run into some issues because they have no stability within that organization. He comes to Philadelphia, he has become a bona fide superstar. Nolan Smith, 6.5 sacks in the regular season, 3 more in the first 2 playoff games for the Eagles. Twitch, bend, explosiveness, a relentless pursuit, always trying to find the ball carrier and the quarterback, plays the game the right way, and him and Jalen Carter caused destruction against that Rams offense this past Sunday. Cam Jurgens replaces Jason Kelce. That's like replacing Derek Jeter as the shortstop of the New York Yankees. First year as a starting center, Pro Bowler, one of the best in the game. Nakobe Dean finally had that breakout performance. First 2 years, up and down, looked a little bit small, dealt with some injuries. He's a player. It sucks that he suffered that injury, but not before he had 128 tackles in the regular season. 3 sacks, 9 TFLs, good coverage guy, good against the run. Vic Fangio, what can you say about him? One of the worst defenses in football a year ago to the number 1 overall defense in the sport. He has been a wizard this year. And Kellen Moore, he adapted his play calling and his offense to the Eagles' personnel. He has been known as a pass-happy OC. Well, the Eagles this year have a 2,000-yard rusher in Saquon Barkley, best offensive line in football, and they were top 10 in multiple offensive categories, and Jalen Hurts combined regular season playoffs for 35 total touchdowns, 5 picks, and he got the quarterback back on track as well. A.J. Brown, an all-pro level player, had more than 1,000 yards, and And Kellen Moore did a whale of a job this season as well. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram, by the way, in addition to all of the long-form content that I do here on YouTube talking about the Birds. I'm always talking Eagles on my social media pages as well. Kelly Knock, $20 super chat. I had said prior to that segment, number one, if you send in a $20 super chat and you say F the Commanders, we'll take down a red jello shot. So, Kelly, we have to do that for you. And then Vince Sanders, a $20 super chat. I'm going to give Chip one of these because he needs to help me out a little bit. So, Chip is going to get an Eagle Green jello shot as well. And then Dennis Designs, $10 super chat. Fredskins, I ain't woke. Go Birds. F the Redskins. I love it. And I love that you're not woke. It's not a way to live life. Anytime somebody sends in a 10, we got to go Birds! So, Dennis, thank you for that. Again, anytime you send in a $20 super chat, we're taking down jello shots. We've already taken down a few. We have green jello shots for the Eagles, red for the Commanders, but we can only take down the red jello shots if you send in a 20 and you say F the Commanders within that super chat. So I'm going to do that right now.
Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Man, we're a few days away, man. We're a few days away. I can tell the juice is there. Let's go.
All right. Whew, they are tasty. They might be dangerous, but they are tasty. Woo. So there's our super chat menu right there. If we get to $200 in total super chats, I will do a shotgun at the end of the show. We're already at $150, and we have 3 segments to go. Another reminder, segment number 4 will be a mailbag. If you want to get your question on the show, it's very simple. Use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat, and we'll get those questions answered for segment number 4. In the meantime, let's move ahead with segment number 2. I'm ready to bring the heat here. John Galt, I miss the days of Tim Timay. Yeah, we miss Tim Timay as well, but you know who we have? We still have Dennis Designs. We still have Vince Sanders. We still have Kelly Knock. We still have Lori Papas. We have plenty of legends here on the program. All right, segment number 2 is loaded. Continue to hang out. We have well over 600 people watching live, 6 likes away from 200. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video right now. We have another loaded show coming your way on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and here's the Eagles Now rundown. The Washington Commanders getting some bad news. They're talking some trash. Eagles are going to bring the heat. Bulletin board material. Those motivating words from Washington, I'm sure Nick Sirianni's going to relay those to his team. Why A.J. Brown could go off against the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. And in addition to the preview that I did earlier this week, I have more keys to a Philadelphia Eagles win. The juices are flowing. The rivalry is felt. And it's safe to say that going into the NFC title bout on Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field, this Eagles-Commanders rivalry is back, and I don't think it's going anywhere for the foreseeable future. You have this loaded Eagles team, and you have this upstart Commanders team led by a quarterback in Jaden Daniels, who's already a top 10 QB and arguably the best rookie quarterback that we have ever seen. These are two organizations who have iconic brands, iconic logos, massive followings, 2 mega media markets, and they've had a lot of success throughout their respective histories. You cannot write the history of the NFL without the Redskins, Washington football team, now the Commanders, and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Commanders, led by Joe Gibbs, 3 Super Bowl championships, 5 NFC titles. The Philadelphia Eagles, 1 Super Bowl, looking for their 2nd Lombardi trophy this year, 4 NFC titles. Surprisingly enough, in this great NFC East rivalry, the Commanders and Eagles have only played 1 time in the playoffs. It was all the way back in 1990 when Washington won 20-6. This season in the 2 matchups, these 2 teams split. Eagles got a win back in Week 11. Birds won that ball game 26-18. Wasn't as close as what the scoreboard indicated because the Commanders did score a garbage time touchdown, but it took Philadelphia a long while to get going. The Birds only had 6 points through 3 quarters. Then they exploded for 20 in the 4th as Saquon Barkley ran for 2 touchdowns in 10 seconds. Really the turning point of that game, a 4th down stop as the Commanders were driving deep in Eagles territory. Jayden Daniels tried to run to the right. He got stuffed. Of note in that game, he was dealing with a rib injury, wasn't himself. Then the Eagles saw what Jayden Daniels is about in Week 16. Commanders won that game 36-33. Hurts suffered a concussion in the first quarter on the second drive of the game. On the 2 drives that he started, the Eagles scored 14 points. Philadelphia was dominating early, but then the Eagles blew 2 separate 14-point leads. The Birds won the turnover battle 5-1, yet the Commanders still got the victory in the final seconds. And that Commanders win in Week 16, it was one of the biggest Commanders victories in the regular season in recent memory. This is an organization that hasn't won a playoff game prior to this year since 2005. Throughout my lifetime as a 33-year-old, the Commanders have been irrelevant. But with the significance of that Commanders win in the thick of the playoff race, keeping the Eagles from winning the division that day, players and fans celebrated like it was their Super Bowl. And Saquon Barkley talked about this week. There were Commanders players who were going up to Saquon in the aftermath of the buzzer sounding, and they were saying, "We will see you again." And the only time that they would see them again, because they weren't scheduled in the regular season, would be in the playoffs. And that's coming to fruition here in the NFC Championship game. Of course, more fuel to the fire, the beef after that Week 16 game between Nick Sirianni and Zack, as Nick Sirianni was going to midfield to shake the hand of Dan Quinn and congratulate him. Zack was pumped up, kind of got in the face of Sirianni. Sirianni brushed him off a little bit, and according to the drama rumors, he said, "Zack, you had 1 catch in this game." Ertz took exception to that and then confronted Sirianni once again. And then Dom DeSandro, Big Dom, kind of had to step in between them. Sirianni then called Ertz, and he apologized. And then Ertz said, "No bad blood. I love that organization. I got respect for Nick. But you best believe that the former Eagles tight end, best tight end in the history of this organization, wants nothing more than to score a touchdown, to shut the link up on Sunday, and show Nick Sirianni that he can do more than that 1 catch that he had in Week 16. I will say, I think the Commanders have given the Eagles a little bit of motivation here. The Eagles have accomplished a lot. They have been now to 8 NFC Championship games since 2001. And I get it, the Commanders have that proud history, but Commanders fans can't really brag about that. Redskins fans can't really brag about that. It's like Dallas Cowboys fans bragging that they've won all those Super Bowls. They haven't done jack shit in about 3 decades. So for the Commanders to win that game, to celebrate like it was their Super Bowl, Eagles players were definitely looking around saying, "We hope that we can see you again." And how about what Commanders defensive coordinator Joe Witt said on Thursday about Jalen Hurts running the ball? If he is going to run the ball, we are going to treat him like a running back. We're going to hit him that way. That's their decision if they want to get him hit. You know what that brought up? It reminded me of what happened in the 2022 NFC Championship game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. When George Kittle said publicly he didn't think that Eagles defense was all that good and they weren't that tough of a unit. And then John Clark tweeted this out. I'm told Nick Sirianni and their team meeting the night before the NFC title game showed the Eagles video of George Kittle talking about the Eagles defense being good on paper. It fired up the Eagles defense. And what happened? They dominated the game that day, and they knocked Brock Purdy out of the game early. They had a relentless pass rush. They stopped the run, and Philadelphia punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. A lot more to get to here on the show, but if you want the Eagles to punish the Commanders, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video right now. Our sponsor for today's show, our friends at Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app in the game. There are 3 football games remaining, so don't miss out on the best place to play daily fantasy sports for the remainder of the football season, and especially for the big game with our friends at Prize Picks. Right now, when you play $5, you get $50 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. You pick 2 or more players. You choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Our lineup, PrizePicks does have a special. Jaden Daniels, more than a half passing yard. Yeah, he's going to pick that up. A.J. Brown, I think he finds the end zone against this Commanders secondary. More than a half rushing and receiving touchdown. And Saquon Barkley has been a home run threat all year. Let's go more than 24.5 yards for his longest rush. His over-under for rushing yards is the highest it's ever been. So, interesting stuff there. Get $50 when you play 5, prizepicks.com/CLNS. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and attach to the pinned comment of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we move forward on today's show. This is why on Sunday, it could be a big day for wide receiver A.J. Brown. He has fared well against this Commanders team in an Eagles uniform. Back in Week 16, he won that matchup against Marshawn Lattimore, but the Commanders as a defense like to play a lot of man coverage, and that benefits A.J. Brown, especially with him starting to get a little bit healthier with the knee getting stronger. He acknowledged that this week. He was a full participant in practice on Thursday as I'm recording this show, so that's a good sign. But with his size, route running, speed, ability to win one-on-ones, ability to make guys miss and pull away from defenders in the open field, an ability to really separate at the line of scrimmage and beat you up physically, A.J. Brown can beat man with his skill set. And the Commanders really challenged A.J. Brown back in Week 16 with Marshawn Lattimore. And Lattimore fared well from time to time, but I thought Brown cooked in that football game. Keep in mind that he got targeted 15 times. He did only catch 8 of those passes, but a lot of them were from Kenny Pickett. Some of them long ball heaves. A.J. still had 97 yards and a touchdown. And I think he's due for a big game. I think this Eagles passing attack, led by Jalen Hurts, is due for a flawless breakout performance. And one of my bold predictions for this game, I think Hurts plays very well through the air, because I think the Eagles understand the Commanders are really going to sell out to try to stop the run. They're going to try to be balanced, and they're at their most dangerous when they are multiple. But A.J. in the playoffs, he usually doesn't have 3-game stretches like this, right? So I think he's going to have a bigger game on Sunday. He had 1 catch for 10 yards against Green Bay, 2 catches for 14 yards against the Rams, dropped a couple of passes. He needs to be better. He'd tell you that. The weather also played a role. Other things to look out for Commanders Eagles. My goal on this show is to give you the most informative content, and I want to be as insightful as possible. So here are some things to look out for Commanders Eagles. We first set the table by taking a look at how both of these ball clubs fare on both sides of the ball. Eagles offensively, 7th in points per game, 9th in yards per game, 10th on third downs, 3rd on fourth downs, 21st in the red zone. Defensively, stellar. Number 1 in points per game, number 1 in yards per game, number 9 on third downs, 22nd on fourth downs, 5th in the red zone. Some key metrics defensively for Philadelphia. How they fare on third down, fourth down, and in the red zone. Why? We flip the page, and you look at how the Commanders fare in those key areas. Number 6 on third downs, number 1 on fourth downs, number 6 in the red area. The difference between 3 and 7 points in this ball game is going to be huge. The Commanders can also score it with the best of them. 29 points per game, that's 4th, 5th in yards per game. Defensively, this is how the Eagles can win. And this might have to be a game where in the first 2 playoff games, the Eagles defense has brought it, they've carried. Now this might be a game where the Eagles offense has to help out the defense a little bit and get to that 30-point threshold. Because this Commanders defense, 18th in points per game, they are 16th in yards per game, 15th on third downs, 29th on fourth downs, 21st in the red zone, and one of the worst teams against the run. Yards per carry and rushing yards per game in the NFL, they are bottom 3 in both categories. The Commanders are also a very aggressive football team on third down and fourth down, as well as in the red zone. Dan Quinn goes for it a lot. And so in these short yardage situations, it doesn't matter the score, it doesn't matter where the Commanders are, they will pull the trigger in being aggressive. I think Nick Sirianni might have to counter with being aggressive. Dan Quinn is at the top for percentages of going for it on fourth downs. Nick Sirianni's in the middle. So game management is going to be key in this game, and it's very telling how much the Commanders put on Jayden Daniels' plate on 3rd and 4th down as a rookie quarterback because he's been able to pass with flying colors. The Commanders also set an NFL record by going no huddle on 60% of their snaps this year. Substitutions are going to be key. And why the Commanders do that? Sometimes the defense can't substitute. They wear that defense down. The defense is gasping for air, and the Eagles do like to rotate defensive linemen. Look out for that. Vic Fangio and his defensive staff, they're going to have to manage this and try to be on it with some of these substitutions. Jayden Daniels has attempted the 4th most passes behind the line of scrimmage, but he also has the 2nd most passes traveling over 50 yards in the air. So this Commanders offense, designed by Cliff Kingsbury, called by Cliff Kingsbury, who is a Mike Leach disciple, and Mike Leach went air raid 4 receivers wide. They will force you to cover the field vertically, but every blade of grass horizontally, sideline to sideline too. And so that's why they're so taxing to defend. Jayden Daniels will throw those swing passes behind the line of scrimmage. They like to get the ball to their running backs and wide receivers in space to set up blocks downfield. But then they could fake it to the outside, and then Daniels is chucking it deep, and he has really good deep ball accuracy. So the Eagles are really going to have to be on their P's and Q's and tidy up at all 3 levels with their defense. Daniels also has the most scrambles at the quarterback position by 30-plus scramble attempts and the most designed runs. And so the Eagles are going to have disciplined pass rush lanes. I wouldn't blitz Daniels a lot. Vic Fangio brought pressure a lot in Week 16. Daniels carved him up. The blitz percentages went down back in Week 11, and Daniels' QBR was about half of what he did in Week 16. And at quarterback spot, it's difficult when Kingsbury forces you to cover all areas of the field because you're taking a defender away from somebody on that back end. But sometimes you might see that because Daniels, if he doesn't see anybody there and the middle of the field is vacant, he'll take off and run. More keys to the game. This is a part of my preview. Offense has to play to their standard. Defense has to have disciplined pass rush lanes against Daniels. If you don't, he'll either get out of the pocket or step up in the pocket, and some of those runs can be momentum altering and backbreaking. Eagles defense against this Washington offense on money downs. Got to get stops and off the field on 3rd down and 4th down. You have to win the turnover battle. Pretty much every team that's won in the playoffs so far has won the turnover battle. And Jake Elliott, you got to get it together. You can't be missing extra points. You can't be missing easy field goals because this game could be decided on the margin. So predict the score. Commanders, Eagles, can't wait for it. And hopefully you've been enjoying our coverage all throughout the week here on Eagles Now. All right. Here's our Super Chat menu, by the way. If you like what you're seeing, you can send us a tip or a Super Chat. As you enter a comment, it's the rectangular box with the $ through it. And when you send in a Super Chat, we like to do fun stuff. All Super Chats get a shout out. $10 will give you a Go Birds. Every 20, we're doing Eagles Jello shots. We have green Eagles Jello shots. We have red Commanders Jello shots. But we can only take those down if you send in a 20 and you write in with that Super Chat, F the Commanders. $50, we'll sing Fly Eagles Fly. No one likes us, we don't care. And if we get to 200 total, I'm doing a shotgun. We're at 150 right now. We're 50 away with 2 segments to go. I think that we can get there. Segment number 4 will be our mailbag. So if you're just joining the show, you want your questions featured here on the program, use the hashtag Eagles or send in a Super Chat. What is the bad news from Jim Rodgers? So the bad news, Jim, is that Cam Jurgens and Dallas Goedert did not practice today. We talked about this earlier. And so Landon Dickerson was taking first-team snaps at center because he's the backup center. And Tyler Steen was getting reps at left guard. That could impact the Eagles' rushing attack. The Commanders are 30th and 31st in rushing yards per game and yards per carry. And Dallas Goedert missed practice as well with an ankle injury. Those are 2 critical components to this Eagles ground game. Paul C., what's up, my brothers? Y'all got snow too? No snow here. I know down in your territory in Houston, you got some snow. It's been very cold here, but no snow. Hope all is well, my dude. Another one of our Super Chat goats. Kelly Knock got the Dallas game ball. Awesome stuff. I'm glad you finally got it. All right, segment number 3. We're going to take a little bit of a break from Eagles Commanders because we've really been talking about that all week. I want to look ahead to free agency a little bit. Pro Football Focus released their top 100 free agents, and they have contract projections for the Eagles who fell inside the top 100. And I want to run through some of those deals because it is pretty interesting. And here's that super chat from Paul. $49 away from doing a shotgun here on the show. Every 20 that comes in, we're taking down a Jell-O shot. We're trying to ball out on this Thursday. And let's continue to move forward here on the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic weekend in the lead up to this NFC Championship game. Coming up here on the show, Pro Football Focus released their list of the top 100 free agents who are going to hit free agency in March. That also includes contract projections for players. So I want to take a look at what the markets could be for some of the Eagles marquee free agents who landed inside that top 100. Before we take care of all of that, subscribe to the channel. We're already almost at 102,000 subs. And we'll be going live for our Eagles Commanders watch party. Coverage begins 90 minutes before kick. So we'll see you then at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. The highest Eagles free agent on the Pro Football Focus list of the top 100 free agents, Josh Sweat, coming in at number 10. His projected contract is very interesting. A 3-year deal, $18 million average annual value. $32.5 million in guaranteed money, $54 million total. Josh Sweat is a player who was the number 1 overall player in high school, injured his knee, went to Florida State. The Eagles took him out of Florida State with some question marks around him because of that knee injury, and he has turned into a really good player for this Eagles defense. They got him 2018 4th round, pick number 130. And in his last 4 years, and really throughout his entire Eagles career, he's been a very good player. But the last 4 years, 7.5 sacks, 11 sacks, 6.5 sacks, and 8 sacks. He's really rebounded this year after a little bit of a down year in 2023. Here's what Pro Football Focus had to say about Sweat. He signed an early extension with the Eagles in 2021 and then a revised 1-year contract for 2024 where he made the most of it, to the tune of 8 sacks in the regular season. With the departure of Hassan Reddick and the unfortunate injury to Eagles legend Brandon Graham, he had plenty of runway to boost his stock, and he did so on his way to a 75.7 Pro Football Focus overall grade in the regular season. I really like Sweat as a player. He's turned into a very good value play for Philadelphia, getting him in the 4th round, and with the deals that the Eagles have signed him to, $18 million per year for Josh Sweat, though, I'm just not doing that because I think the Eagles have a player like Nolan Smith who's emerging, and they have other needs on this team, although I will say edge rusher is very important. So if he's going to get $18 million per year, I don't blame him for leaving, and I don't blame Howie Roseman for not paying him. A player whose stock is rising so quickly is Milton Williams. He comes in at number 32 on this PFF Top 100 Free Agents list. His projected contract, 3-year deal, $21 million average annual value, $37.5 million in guaranteed money, $63 million total. This is a young player who is blossoming. He's developing. He's turned into a very good player for this Eagles defense, especially under Vic Fangio. He broke out this year in a contract year with 5 sacks. He had a pass rush grade this year of 90.4. And a lot of teams across the NFL are really desperate for defensive tackles who can rush the passer, because that is the way to stop some of these premier quarterbacks. If their sight line and their vision line is blurred by pressure coming up the middle, they get hit. Quarterbacks don't like to get hit. They can put the ball into harm's way. That can generate into turnovers. And Milton Williams has really excelled with that. The issue with him, he is not good against the run. And that's when teams can really take advantage of that. Does have some positional versatility in that 3-4. He could play defensive tackle. He could play defensive end. This draft pick by Howie Roseman, he's turned into a stud. But that run defense grade of 43.1, that's a huge gap between the pass rush grade and the run defense grade. But I think a team is going to pay him for the reasons that I mentioned. Here's what PFF had to say about Milton Williams. He's already a candidate for the biggest riser on this list, and his stock only improved down the home stretch. His 6 sacks in the regular season, PFF, by the way, doesn't count half sacks, so that's why they gave him 6. Our career best total, a rotational interior defender with serious pass rush juice, is often the profile of a player who does very well in free agency. And Williams has limited tread on his tires, given he's never eclipsed 50% of defensive snaps played in a season, despite playing at least 36% in every year since his debut. Leave it to the Eagles to get a new deal done, but if not, don't be surprised when Williams makes a major splash in March. If he's getting $21 million per year from a team, it's not going to be from the Philadelphia Eagles. And PFF making a solid point there. You pay him that money, you're going to ask him to play more than 50% of the snaps. And so you're hoping if he logs more snaps, that could result in 7 to 10 sacks per year. And that's about the going rate for a defensive tackle. So a valuable rotational player this year. I don't think the Eagles can afford that. But you know who's waiting in the wings? A player who's very similar, who's also very young. Moro Ajomo. Our sponsor for today's show, only getting started, beginning to take flight on the program, our friends at Game Time. If you want to go to the Eagles-Commanders NFC Championship game, there are plenty of tickets available. Game Time hits you with the last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. Their flash deals and zone deals are awesome. And thanks to Game Time picks, you don't have to sort through thousands of tickets. Game Time will set you up with the best seats, with the best vantage point. That is a new feature that I have used a lot to be able to go to a lot of different venues and have a night with some friends and family members. And what's also cool about this app is that you can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. I suggest you toggle the all-in pricing tool. Therefore, you don't get hit with any surprise fees at checkout. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with our friends at Game Time. One of the top stories for the Eagles this year, the play of Mekhi Becton. And he ranks number 41 on the Pro Football Focus list of the top 100 free agents here. His projected contract, I thought that he was going to be projected to get a lot more, but 3 years, $9 million per, $17 million in guaranteed money, $27 million total. The Eagles switched him to guard after he was a tackle with the New York Jets, and he has been the beneficiary of Jeff Stoutland University. At that size, 6'7", 330, 340 pounds, he has light feet. He packs a punch. When he gets to that second level on these pull blocks, no DBs or linebackers or safeties want to get in his way. He has paved open some running lanes for Saquon Barkley. I thought it was a really cool moment how when the Eagles clinched that playoff spot and the division against the Cowboys, he was crying because of how overtaken he was with emotions, considering he went from the hapless Jets to the Eagles, and he didn't know what a winning culture was like and playing on a winning team was like, and that Eagles offensive line is extremely close. Here's what Pro Football Focus had to say about Becton, who's been a top 10 guard this year. He is the latest in a very long line of star pupils to attend Jeff Stoutland University in Philadelphia, working with arguably the league's best offensive line coach to get his career back on track. A kick inside to guard for 2024 may not be a permanent move for him, as the Eagles possibly have the best tackle tandem in the NFL, but he's demonstrated versatility across the line, and that's only a good thing. Look, if I'm Mekhi Becton and I got my career back on track playing guard, I'm going to continue to play guard. But backup swing tackle versatility, that also helps you get paid. I would not blink in giving Mekhi Becton $9 million per year. For instance, Landon Dickerson got $21 million AAV. I'm giving that to Becton in a hurry. Zack Baun, I don't know what Pro Football Focus is thinking here. They have him ranked 61st. We're talking about a first-team All-Pro and a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year who's been a catalyst for this Eagles defense alongside Jalen Carter. His projected contract, 3 years, $13.3 million per season, $26.5 million in guaranteed money, $40 million total. And historically, Howie Roseman hasn't put a lot of emphasis or value on the linebacker spot. Nigel Bradham was a really good player. TJ Edwards turned into a really good player, but the Eagles really didn't pay those players a lot. But they've reaped the benefits of having a really good linebacker, and alongside Nakobe Dean this year, they had a great linebacker duo. I think that's a big reason why we saw this Eagles defense take that leap. And I hope that Howie Roseman understands and notices and acknowledges that having quality linebackers in today's NFL, where you have running backs who can run it and catch it, tight ends who are freaky athletic, teams who want to spread you out and run crossers, that having off-ball coverage linebackers are huge. But Baun's versatility and his experience as a blitzer and pass rusher has helped him be this dynamite type of linebacker where Vic Fangio wants to dial up a blitz, 53 is included. But dropping back in coverage, he's awesome. And so I'd like to see Howie pay Zack Baun. Pro Football Focus on Baun. We seemingly write this blurb every year for the free agent rankings, so stop us if you've heard this before. The Eagles bought low on a talented but underutilized off-ball linebacker who went on to have a career year in Philadelphia. Will they extend Baun, the latest example, and keep him in the fold? That's the blurb we never write. Focusing on Baun, there is nothing fluky about his production this year and little reason to think he can't continue to play at an extremely high level in a newer role. Plus, he'll always have some pass rush chops to boot. I think the Eagles need to bring Zack Baun back. I mean, you can't look at the defensive players in that locker room with how important Zack Baun has been and say, we're not going to bring him back for financial reasons. The Eagles are in a good cap spot. Howie Roseman always gets creative with creating cap space. And this guy was a straight-up stud, and he can continue to be that anchor for this Eagles defense. Here's the entire list, by the way, of Eagles 2025 free agents. If you want to screenshot this, tell a friend, and tell a friend that what we do here on Eagles Now is unique and special. Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, will he come back for a 16th year? Zack Baun, Mekhi Becton, Avonte Maddox, Dennis Designs is already saying, please no, my eyes hurt. Turn them off, they're too bright. Milton Williams, defensive tackle. LaRaven Clark, offensive tackle. Rick Lovato, long snapper. CJ Uzama, tight end, fullback hybrid. Fred Johnson did a pretty solid job stepping in for Mailata and Lane Johnson this year. Jack Driscoll, offensive tackle. Paris Campbell, wide receiver. Oren Burks, linebacker, good special teamer. Nick Gates, center. Isaiah Rodgers, corner. Eagles are so deep at that corner spot, but he could get paid by another team. Ian Book, quarterback. Kenneth Gainwell, running back. Britton Covey, wide receiver. Ben Van Sumeren, linebacker. So that's 19 total free agents for the Eagles here. In season, off season, I always have you covered here on this show. Hopefully, we're talking about some Eagles football for the 2024 season the next couple of weeks. That would mean that they make it to the Super Bowl and they beat Washington. But whenever this Eagles season ends, free agency draft content is going to be stellar here on this show. You don't want to miss it, so subscribe. $2 super chat from Washler. Move to the DMV. I'm told, what do you say? I moved to the DMV, go Birds. So I imagine you moved to the DMV and you've been hearing some smack talk all week from your Commanders friends and coworkers. You know what you should just say? Eagles fans are the worst. We're going to beat you on Sunday. You just turn around and say, no one likes us. We don't care. Go Birds! Beats plays, $2 super chat. Commies all the way. Boo. Boo. F the commies. If you don't like the Commanders, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Our super chat menu. All super chats get a shout out. $10, we're giving you a Go Birds. Every 20 that comes in, we're taking down some Jello shots. $50, we're singing Fly Eagles Fly, no one likes us, we don't care. $200, I'm doing a shotgun. We're 45 away.
Let's go.
From doing a shotgun here on this Thirsty Thursday. So I think that we can get there. Let's have an Eagles Now happy hour like we used to do back in the day.
Mailbag's coming up next, baby. Last chance, #Eagles. Get those questions in. We've done pretty good in the questions so far.
By the way, Vince Sanders, who sent in the 50 and a 20 earlier, he has been a legendary super chatter here on the show. Vince, thank you so much for your kind email the other day and the one that you just sent me. He won our Ron Jaworski autographed mini helmet on the show a couple of weeks ago. Here he is posing with it. Vince, 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 Vince. Appreciate it, brother. And thanks for your support of the show this year. All right, we have one segment left. Mailbag. How are we looking on those questions, Chip?
We're good. We're good.
We're good. All right, let's waste no time. Let's do our mailbag here. $45 away from a shotgun here on the show. I'm hoping that we can get there because I want to do a little Thirsty Thursday happy hour here on the program. Andrew Nathan, $2 super chat. F the commies. F the commies. Suck it, Sperry. We'll pop that super chat up from Andrew, and then we'll get to our mailbag questions. There you go, Andrew Nathan. F the commies indeed. All right. Let me just take a look here.
My dad, $10 super chat.
Jeff Chipper, $10. Hey, Jeff, what are the Cowboys doing right now? About to hire Brian Schottenheimer?
What a disaster. Get this popped up here. You know what, though? Can't believe I'm saying this, he says, but I want the Eagles to win.
Let's go!
Yeah!
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! And, of course, go Birds! Anytime somebody sends in a 10, we got to yell, go Birds, to the heavens. Great show here today. Coming up next, going to take your questions with this mailbag, but could the Eagles be getting a key player back if they make it to the Super Bowl? Going to discuss that as well as part of the mailbag. And that brings us $33 away from a shotgun. We'll hang out for an Eagles Now happy hour after this. So let's go. Yo, what's good? What's up? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, as always, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And you know what I need you to do. Hit that subscribe button for daily and year-round coverage of the Birds. Coming up here today, could the Eagles be getting a key player back if they beat the Commanders and make it to Super Bowl 59? We'll also open up the floor and take your questions for a mailbag. If you are pumped up for this NFC Championship game, though, Commanders, Eagles, NFC East rivalry renewed, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And I want to start off with this. Pretty interesting stuff here. Could Brandon Graham return to the Eagles lineup at the defensive end position if the Eagles punch their ticket to Super Bowl 59? There's a chance that the Eagles legend could come back if the Eagles make it to New Orleans. The latest on Brandon Graham. As we know, a little bit longer in the tooth. His play hasn't really slowed down, though. 36 years old. He's in his 15th year against the Los Angeles Rams. When he was putting together a heck of a game, he suffered a torn triceps. That was back in Week 12. At the time, it was said that he was going to be out for the rest of the year. But as he's gone through rehab and as he's done well in the rehabilitation process, he has not closed the door on returning to the Eagles this year if they make it to the Super Bowl. Here's what he said this week during his appearance on WIP. Let's get there. Let's go win this week. That's all I'm focused on. And then we'll see. Brandon Graham in 2024. He might be 36. He may have embarked on year 15. He may have signed a one-year contract with the Eagles and said, this is my final year. But with how well he's played, he started to reconsider it a little bit. Had an overall Pro Football Focus grade going into Week 12 and after Week 12 of 78.6 prior to the injury. A run defense grade of 80.1. He was consistently making plays in the backfield at that defensive end position. Really instinctual player who's not just a pass rusher, an all-around defensive player and a marquee leader and captain for this Eagles team. Had a pass rush grade of 71.8, 3.5 sacks, 20 pressures, while playing, I think, about 50% of the snaps, 13 hurries, 3 quarterback hits, and that only came on 169 pass rushing snaps. After he suffered that injury, and with how well he played under Vic Fangio, Fangio even said, Brandon Graham, he cannot go out like this. And I'm hoping that BG doesn't go out like that. I hope he returns for a 16th year. But if the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl and if the Birds win, what a way to go out if he goes out in that manner, if he's able to play in that game. Regardless of what happens, he's going to go down as one of the most legendary Eagles players of all time and an ultimate fan favorite. If you're looking to get an Eagles jersey, it's a good choice to get that number 55 because that name and that number and the player will resonate forever. That's why I love my Brian Dawkins authentic jersey, and that's something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. All-time Eagles legend. BG, 13th overall pick back in 2010. That was the year that I graduated high school, and he's still going. Super Bowl 52 champion. He helped seal that victory over the Patriots back in 2017 with the strip sack of Tom Brady. Biggest play in the history of this organization. Second team All-Pro in 2016. A Pro Bowler in 2020. 76.5 career sacks. That is number 3 all-time behind Reggie White and Trent Cole all-time for the Eagles. And he's number 1 for the most games played in Eagles history. We will take your questions on the other side. But first, let's give a shout out to our friends at Game Time. This is the only app that I use when it comes to getting tickets. It's not just an app for sporting events, by the way. I talk NFL for a living. Sometimes I need to unplug and I need to go to a concert. I need to go to a comedy show. I like to vibe to some tunes. I like to laugh to some jokes. If you want to take in some arts, you can do that as well with the Game Time app. Philadelphia, very well known for their arts, music, and comedy. So you can find all of these events on the Game Time app. And thanks to a new feature called Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to find last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. You can access tickets from your phone. You can easily resell your tickets. You can see the view from your seat before you buy. So you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And let me say this. If you want to go to Eagles Commanders NFC Championship game at the Link, plenty of tickets available. You get that bird's eye view of the stadium if you're very particular about what yard line you want to sit at. But you can also get that vantage point and the price point from your seats. Flash deals, zone deals, the Game Time guarantee, where if you find a lower price elsewhere, Game Time will credit you up to 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply, first purchase only. Let's start to take your questions here. Louis or Luis, hopefully I got it right one of the 2 times, but thank you so much for supporting the show. The Commanders' defensive coordinator just messed up big time in his press conference for saying this about Jalen Hurts. He added fuel to the fire for us, and we got you, Escalera. Thank you for the 5 once again. This is Joe Witt, the Commanders' defensive coordinator on Hurts. If he is going to run the ball, we are going to treat him like a running back. We're going to hit him that way. That's their decision if they want to get him hit. Of course, Jalen Hurts dealing with that knee injury, but he was a full participant during the Thursday practice as he continues to progress. Remember when George Kittle said in the lead up to the 2022 NFC Championship game, the Eagles defense was good on paper? Nick Sirianni told his team about that in a team meeting in the lead up to that game. You think that Sirianni is going to pop up that quote and say, we got to protect our quarterback? Remember how the Commanders acted after that Week 16 win? They acted as though it was their Super Bowl. Yeah, we're going to bring the heat in front of our home fans. Sharif Jones, who didn't practice that will affect our running game? So I'm recording this mailbag on Thursday during our live show. Cam Jurgens did not practice on Thursday. He is this team starting center. Pro Bowler this year in his first year as a starting center at the NFL level and taking over for Jason Kelce. And so Landon Dickerson slid over from left guard to center, and he's the backup center. If Cam Jurgens can't play, it's a big loss for this Eagles team. The Commanders are pretty good along the defensive line. Frankie Louvu is a really good linebacker at that second level. Jurgens is so athletic with his ability to get out in space on these pull blocks. And while Landon Dickerson did play center in Alabama, it weakens you at center a little bit because of the inexperience, I think, and it weakens you at left guard because Tyler Steen would have to play there. You have to trust that Jeff Stoutland will have anybody ready to play along that offensive line, but that could impact the Eagles' rushing attack because the Commanders bottom 3 in rushing yards per attempt allowed and rushing yards per game allowed. And then Dallas Goedert didn't practice on Thursday either, and he's such a good blocker too. Andrew Nathan. Chase, the last time we played Washington, they had their defense chip our pooling linemen. We have to be careful because it sounds like they want to hurt our players. Just look at what the defensive coordinator said on Thursday. Yeah, we pass along that quote from Joe Witt. Frankie Louvu's hit on Jalen Hurts that led to the concussion. It was a little bit late. I'm not going to say that Louvu is a dirty player, but he plays hard. Bobby Wagner, extremely physical. We have a berth in the Super Bowl on the line here. So both of these teams are going to be smashing heads on a collision course. There's also this. Eagles are a little bit banged up coming out of that Rams divisional game. They played outside in the snow. Tough, hard-fought, physical game. The Commanders played indoors, blowout win, and they played on Saturday. A little bit of a rest advantage there, even though they're going to be on the road. Jeffo, will Zack Baun get his contract extended? I hope so, and he should. And if the Eagles have to fork over $13 million per year, they weren't willing to pay TJ Edwards that. Their defense suffered right away. They should pay Zack Baun that. Guy's a terrific linebacker, instinctual player, plays with good feel, plays with aggression, physicality. You can use him as a blitzer if you want to blitz. He's great off ball. He's so good in coverage. And in his first year playing off ball coverage linebacker, first team All-Pro, finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, $3 million. Howie Roseman, sup. Andrew Nathan again. Chase, we need to score in the red zone. What's your formula for that to happen? I like that play action at Dallas that we had. Your thoughts? Yeah, I like some screen passes. I like some in-breaking routes to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I like if A.J. Brown's one-on-one, I'm willing to take my chances throwing it up to him because of the physicality. Saquon Barkley on wheel routes, if you're in the high red, if you're in the low red, utilize Dallas Goedert. I always love a little shovel pass, a little screen pass to the tight end to get some blockers out in front. The brotherly shove, going to be an important play too in the red zone. And how does Jalen Hurts' knee injury impact that play? Of course, you want to ride Saquon Barkley too. So those are plenty of reasons, that and a whole lot more, for how they can capitalize in the red area. PP suck. Nice. Hey, Chase, who do you really think the Eagles should draft for their first-round pick, or what position should they look at? You know, it's a very good question. Let's hope that the Eagles are picking 32nd. That would mean that they win the Super Bowl. If they make it, they'll pick 31st. If they don't, they'll be picking 28th, 29th, somewhere along those lines. You know, they really don't have a lot of needs. You know, I would love for the Eagles to draft Tyler Warren and maybe let Dallas Goedert go. And then you get a more affordable player who might be better than Dallas Goedert. I don't think he's lasting that long. Colston Loveland, the Michigan tight end, he's also a really good player who could be a sexy pick for the Eagles with where they pick in the back half of the first round. Knowing Philadelphia, though, Howie Roseman loves to build the trenches, and I agree with that team-building philosophy. So he could go offensive tackle, try to groom an offensive tackle to take over for Lane Johnson as he gets older. They could go defensive end if they let Joshua go. Nolan Smith, he takes a leap. Bryce Huff, you got to play and produce a little bit more, and then you draft another edge rusher. That's a possibility. They could go corner depth. Isaiah Rodgers, a free agent. Darius Slay getting a little bit older. I want to keep Cooper DeJean in the slot so you get an outside guy. Do you go safety? Do you go linebacker? Yeah, there's just some positions that come to mind. Wide receiver 3. Yeah, there you go. Predict the score. Commanders, Eagles coming up. NFC Championship game. Man, my juices are flowing. chills. All right. Still about 500 people watching. 371 likes. We've had more than 8,000 people join us over the last hour.
Nice little Thursday show going on here.
Nice little Thursday for show. All right, let's do this. I'm going to put up my 2-minute Super Chat shot clock. Okay? We are at 173 in Super Chats right now, which means that we are 27 away from taking down a shotgun. We still have 2 Eagles Jello shots to go. We have 1 Commanders Jello shot to go. But if you send in a 20 and you want us to take down the Commanders and eat the commies, you have to say F Washington within the Super Chat. I am going to pop up my 2-minute Super Chat shot clock. And whoever sends in a Super Chat within 2 minutes, you can extend the show. So let's start it right now. Send in a Super Chat within 2 minutes. We extend the show. Caleb Daniels!
Oh!
There we go! Sends in a 30 to get us over 200. Shotgun coming up. So I'm going to reset the Super Chat shot clock. And let's keep it going. Send in a Super Chat within 2 minutes. We'll stay live. We'll do it live.
Do it live.
All right, let me do this.
Caleb. How many rings would Mahomes have if he was drafted in Eli and Ben's draft? I'm saying 0, taking into account the league's old rules, how much harder it was to win back then compared to now. I don't know if I'd say 0. He'd probably figure out a way to get 1.
Yeah, I mean, look, he kind of won the game fair and square against the Eagles. The James Bradbury hold sucked, but his only incompletion in the second half was on a throwaway. They overcame turnovers to beat the Niners pretty fair and square. The Niners shot themselves in the foot in that game. Got their asses kicked by the Buccaneers. That's the formula to beating Mahomes. The Buccaneers set the record for the most quarterback pressures in a Super Bowl. So that's the way to beat Mahomes. And then they beat the Niners. They came back from 10 in the fourth quarter. So I think all 3 of his rings are pretty fair and square. Does he have the benefit of the whistle? No doubt about it. All right, let's do this. Got to have somebody bring me in shotgun. All right. What do we got here? Up to 202 in supers. $20. We're going to continue to take Jello shots, but I'm waiting on getting a Happy Dad to do the shotgun here for getting over 200 total. If you want to extend the show, send in the Super Chat. Caleb Daniels, thanks for being a legend and getting us over 200. So we'll do that shotgun here at the very least. All Super Chats get a shout out. $10, Go Birds. $20, Eagles Jello shots. In the meantime, as we wait for that Caleb Super, we'll take down another Jello shot.
There we go.
Ah, that one was strong.
Green ones are strong.
Green ones for some Eagle Jello shots. Didn't Tom Brady just buy a piece of the Raiders? Yeah, he's part of the ownership group, and he's helping Mark Davis interview head coaching candidates, and they just hired a GM. Oh, purr.
Uh-oh.
A little shotgun race coming up. You scared? All right. Okay, that's cool. All right, we're going to do a little shotgun race. Myself and Avery. How do you like your shotgun pull to go? Do you like to go like pull the tab this way, or do you like to pull the tab that way? I like to pull it up. Up. Okay. All right, cool. All right. Big hole, little hole. Pause.
gosh.
A big hole. Okay. That big girl. All right. Here you go. You can come on camera, too, if you want. All right. Shotgun race. Here's Avery, one of our new hires. Are you still new if you're like 2 months in? How long are you a new hire for?
I'd say like
Chip, how long's a new hire
I would say 3 months.
3 months?
Like 3 months.
Now, if
After
people
that-
keep making mistakes like 6 months in, you're still a new hire, right? Because you're just not getting it. So if somebody continues to make mistakes, can they be new 6 months in?
I think it depends, how good you're doing.
Because they're acting new? All right. Ready to rock?
Who wins?
Shotgun race. Here we go. Can you give us a go, Birds?
Go Birds!
Let's go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And they're off.
Oh, it's so cold. Crushed
Woo!
it, though.
Impressive.
Crushed it, though.
Impressive stuff.
Impressive. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hey, thanks to, who was that sent in the 30 again?
Caleb
Daniels getting us over 200. We're going to sign off. Thanks to Avery for the beers. Thanks to Chip for steering the ship. He's the captain. I'm just along for the ride. I am the captain now. And thanks to everybody else for tuning in. We will be live next on Sunday. Eagles, Commanders, 90-minute pregame show. We'll preview the game in the lead up to the ball game, and then during the game, best place to experience an Eagles game day outside of being at the actual game. 4 segments down, bunch of great Eagles talk, great audience interaction. That's what we always want to do, and we'll see you next on Sunday. Go Birds, F the Commanders. Let's make it the Super Bowl 59.